What's new in CloudBees CI 2.319.3.4? Are you new here? If you are, welcome. And if you are new here, you don't know who I am. My name is Darren Pope, and I'm a developer advocate for CloudBees. On February 15th, 2022, CloudBees CI 2.319.3.4 was released. We're going to take a few moments and go through the release notes. If you've never taken a look at the release notes before, let me show you how to get there. You can start at docs.cloudbees.com, click on the documentation link, and then click on CloudBees CI. And then on the documentation dropdown, select Release Notes. Now this release for 2.319.3 actually has two different releases, and we're going to look at both of them. We have the .4 that was released on February 15th, and there was also an initial .3 that came out on February 9th. We'll take a quick look at the .4 first, and then we'll take a look at the .3. If we go ahead and take a look at the full release notes for traditional platforms, what we're going to see here is there is a security advisory associated with this release. If we take a look at that security advisory, we can see here there are a number of plugins that have had fixes issued for them. And if you can go through and scroll to the bottom, take a look at these. Some of these plugins may affect you, some may not. But this is a very important release for you to go ahead and review these security, because more than likely, you have a number of these plugins already installed on your controllers. Now I want to take you back for one more change that was called out here. And it's another security fix that is being called out specifically here in these notes, and it's around the Support Core plugin. And there has been a fix issued where some of the contents were not being redacted properly. So in this release, this specific plugin for Support Core has been upgraded to take care of those redaction issues. And that's the primary call out for this .4 release. It is a security release for numerous plugins. So let's go back over to our documentation and let's go down to .3, because again, we saw the security release, we saw the call out specifically for Support Core, but let's go down to the initial release for .3, which in this case was .3.3, and take a look at the traditional platforms release notes first, and then we'll go over and take a look at the modern cloud platform and call out the things that were specific for modern cloud platform. Now for .3, what we're seeing here, again at the beginning, was there was a security advisory for this. If we take a look at this security advisory, there was a denial of service vulnerability in the Extreme library, and that was the only call out here for security. One of the big features for this release in 2.319.3.3 was now configuration as code. Supports an SCM as its source for your configuration as code or your cask files. This is a pretty neat feature, and you probably want to go ahead and review the documentation and see if moving to this SCM-based cask bundle solution is right for you. Now, if we scroll down to feature enhancements, there are a couple of other cask-related items here in feature enhancements. The two that I want to call out are cask plugin validation has been improved. So that's always a good thing, where validation is improved and we can keep track of that better. And also, the file system, cask bundle descriptor, and cask bundle content validation have also been improved. So these two items for plugin validation and then all the other validations here is helping make cask stronger and stronger, and a great solution for you to use to be able to manage your CloudBees CI controllers. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the resolved section. And for resolved, I want to call out one of the items. There's more than one item, but I want to call out one specific item. The option to disable agent to controller security subsystem has been completely removed. The reason why it was removed is it was also removed from Jenkins. So if you're seeing something strange in how your agents and your controller are interacting, it might be related to this. Now let's go ahead and go down to our known issues. There are about 3 or 4 known issues that you might need to be aware of. Now, specifically for CloudBees CI for traditional platforms, in version 2.319.2.5, so if you had upgraded to that version, the default encoding had changed over to ANSI X3.4 rather than UTF-8. This is going to be resolved in an upcoming release. Now also, Much like we have the new feature for configuration as code by being able to pull from an SCM, there's also a known issue with that. And in the case, if you get into this specific situation, and it's laid out here very clearly, what could happen is your operations center may run out of disk space. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, at least it will tell you there's no space left on the device. So if you decide to go ahead and upgrade to 2.319.3.3 or 3.4, which is where you really should upgrade to because of the security fixes, and you are also using Cask for your bundles, then you want to go ahead and review this and understand, okay, is this going to affect me or not? Again, known issue, it's going to be fixed in a upcoming release. And finally, we have the duplicate pipeline catalog templates as related to Cask. Again, this is going to be fixed in an upcoming release. Let's go ahead and go back over to our Modern Cloud Platform release notes. We can take a look at the 3.4 first. We have the security advisory. We have the support core plugin. Again, both of those were known. And then one known issue here, and we'll see it again once we go over to the 3.3, is at this point, Kubernetes 1.19 or later is required in order to run CloudBees CI. If you have questions about the different supported platforms, follow the link that's in this description. Let's go ahead and go back over and go down to our full release notes for 3.19.3.3, and let's call out the items that are specific to CloudBees CI on modern cloud platforms. We saw the security advisories. This is the new Cask bundle. We just talked about requiring Kubernetes 1.19 or later. This next item, running the sidecar injector certificate renewal check once every 2 weeks. Previously was running daily, and now it's being backed off to only run every 2 weeks. And finally, under feature enhancements, Helm chart validation has been now added. One thing that Helm v3 allowed you to do is validate the Helm charts using JSON schemas. At this point now, the schemas were added to the chart, so everything can be validated. Let's go ahead and go down to the Resolved section. And in Resolved, there are two primary items. Pods were allocated 13 environment variables, resulting in performance degradation. If there were too many managed controllers in a namespace, every pod was allocated 13 environment variables. Now, this has been reduced, and only the environment variables that are needed are generated. And one other item in the Resolve section is if you are running on AWS and you are using EBS volumes, Elastic Block Store, then there could have been problems with pipeline builds after restoring from a backup. In order to hit this issue, that means you had to have been on AWS using EBS volumes and you were doing a restore from a backup. Again, a pretty corner case, but it has now been fixed. And finally, under known issues, I want to call out one item that applies to CloudBees CI on modern cloud platforms. And that is, when using Cask to create an Operations Center instance for the very first time, managed controllers may not be automatically provisioned. Again, sort of like the EBS volume situation, pretty much a corner case, but it is known and it will be resolved in a future release. If you have any questions or comments, you could reach out to us on Twitter at CloudBees. If this video was helpful to you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to CloudBees TV yet, why not? Take a moment, click on that subscribe button, and then ring that bell, and you'll be notified anytime there's new content available on CloudBees TV. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.